What's up? It's Tom. Thanks for clicking on this video. We're going to talk about the Twins managerial search. Who is going to replace Rocco Baldelli as Twins manager? And, now that I've put my own face up in this thumbnail I made, I'm throwing my name in the hat there. Falvey, hit me up. I'll do an interview. You're casting a wide net. Why not give me a shot here? But let's focus on the guys that are actually the Twins are showing interest in. And the first one I'm talking about, Nick Punto. Nick Punto, Little Nicky Punto, is going to get an interview for the Twins managerial opening. And I've been kind of negative about the concept of bringing back a former Twins player. Because to be honest with you, a lot of them, I don't know. It just seems like people just throw out one of their favorite former Twins and it just would be fun. And I get that. This would be insanely fun if Nick Punto, he's one of the many names that have been thrown out that would be insanely fun. But the thing that does give Nick Punto a leg up to me is that he is currently a major league coach. He's a coach with the San Diego Padres. Now, he's not like a bench coach or a hitting coach. I think they officially have him titled as a major league coach. So I think he does a lot with their infield and probably does some base running stuff, So it's not like he's one of the top coaches with the Padres, but he does have major league coaching experience. He has some other coaching experience as well. 47 years old, does not have any MLB managerial experience, was a player/folk hero for the Twins from 2004 to 2010, of course. Yeah, this would, I'll be honest, Punto probably isn't my first choice among these guys that have been connected with the Twins, but dude, if they hired Nick Punto, I would have nothing but positive vibes and be super pumped up about it, and it would be so much fun. So, there's something to that, and that goes with any of the former Twins who would be popular hires. There is something to generating a buzz and getting some excitement going at a point in time where it's very difficult. Now, I don't think that's the main direction that you want to go here, but it's not without any merit. Is what I'm trying to say. And maybe Nick Punto kind of represents the best of both worlds. I don't know. Some other guys with Twins ties in the mix here. Derek Shelton, who is not currently employed, but was the Pirates manager as recently as early this season, spent parts of 6 years as the Pirates manager. 55 years old. This guy's a long resume for being only 55. Again, was the Pirates manager the past 6 seasons, Twins bench coach prior to that from 2018 to 2019. I'd forgotten that he served under both Molitor and Baldelli. That slipped my mind. But before that, he was a coach with Cleveland. I think at the same time, Derek Falvey was there. So these guys have long been connected. Derek Shelton and Rocco Baldelli are like best friends. So I don't know. That's the thing to me is how much would this be a change from Rocco Baldelli is what I would wonder. If they let's say the Twins hired Derek Shelton, that's kind of the question I have is, well, what's going to be different about this from Rocco Baldelli? And I'm sure they have certainly their differences, but, it just kind of feels like a samey type thing. And I don't know if I'm looking for a retread, to be honest. I think I'm kind of viewing a guy with no managerial experience kind of as a plus, and I think it'd be cool to give someone an opportunity here. It might be a rough first go. It might be tough coming out of the gates here. It might be an ugly couple years with the Twins. Who knows? But, I say it all the time when I'm talking about managers. There's only 30 of these jobs, and these positions only come around so often. Shelton's pretty fresh off that Pirates gig. Maybe it'd be better to give it to somebody brand new. Somebody like maybe another familiar name, James Rowson. James Rowson, another guy who was around during that Bomba Squad season. Former Twins hitting coach from 2017 to 2019. Currently the hitting coach with the Yankees. He's been in that role, I think, the past 3 seasons, 49 years old. Does not have MLB managerial experience, but he did serve as the Marlins bench coach after he left here. So he has, though he's not in that role anymore, he's a hitting coach, and he's mostly known as a hitting coach, but he does have bench coach experience in the past. Obviously the Derek Falvey era Twins very familiar with him, having hired him. A guy who's well thought of as a hitting coach, offensive-minded coach, and really seems to have a gift of simplifying things and communicating things to hitters. So guy who's had a lot of success, a lot of places. James Rowson is kind of, if you're talking about bringing back a former coach, I think he's kind of my pick there, James Rowson. Though, for me, this next guy is probably my leader in my clubhouse of who I'd want to bring in, and that's Ramón Vázquez. If you saw my video kind of analyzing what I'm looking for in a Twins manager, and who I landed on was George Lombard, this is one of the closest guys you could find to having a George Lombard-like profile. Former major leaguer, 49 years old, has spent time in the minor leagues coaching, has spent time in the major leagues coaching, currently the bench coach with the Boston Red Sox, does not have MLB managerial experience, has no Twins ties. I'm kind of embracing that, to be honest. Again, it would be so fun. It would be so fun if someone like Nick Punto became the manager, and I cannot like diss that. I would not be upset. I would be excited. But if I'm trying to think of like what I think is the best thing for the team's direction right now, I do think maybe bringing somebody in with a completely clean slate might be beneficial. So this guy, he's right-hand man, a bench coach, number 2. Again, he's got a lot of experience, was a player for a long time, been in the game a long time, is going to be able to understand today's player. So that's something that really stands out to me, Ramón Vázquez. The Twins have asked to interview him. And then a name that Dan Hayes has reported that is hot, I believe, is what he worded it as with the Twins, that they're interested in this guy, but it doesn't sound like they've officially asked the Cubs to interview him yet. Ryan Flaherty, who's also expected to get some interest. There are expected to be 8 managerial openings, I believe. So that's kind of maybe the biggest thing here that's encouraging is the Twins are moving. I think they kind of tried to play it cool and make it seem like they didn't have a list or they didn't have any ideas of who they might want to bring in, which Derek Foley will never give anything away, ever. So it's good to see that does not appear to be the case, and they did have some guys names in mind, and they're trying to move on that, because I don't think you want to be the last team looking for a manager in this carousel that's going on this offseason. But again, the Twins haven't officially interviewed or asked to interview Ryan Flaherty, but he's currently the bench coach with the Cubs, and he's younger than the rest of these guys we talked about. 39 years old, not too far from his own playing days. Had a nice career. A nice long career as an infielder. 39 years old. He's Craig Counsell's right-hand man. You see there, very well thought of manager himself. No managerial experience for Ryan Flaherty. No Twins ties. So again, to me, that's kind of a plus. I think it'd be interesting, and especially if you think the Twins are going to go young, which I don't know. I don't know if they're actually going to do that or not. If you look at what they did after the trade deadline, there's not that many rookies that got a lot of playing time. And going young was putting in a bunch of guys who were 25, 26 and needed Austin Martins who needed more look. So I'm not sure how young exactly the Twins are going, but maybe this is a guy that you think of if you think the Twins are really going to go young in the next couple of years. Because again, he is very young himself. I think that does work well in some cases with young teams. So it could be, I think that's a good name to put in the mix. And I think it's a good sign that the Twins are interested. So really, I can't really find fault with any of those names. If the Twins hired any one of these guys, I wouldn't be saying it was a horrible mistake or anything. So this is an encouraging crop of names, in my opinion. And this, I think it goes to show you too, how the talent of baseball minds that are out there and why you probably should be. I think the Twins should be more aggressive in shifting at manager than they have been. More willing to make a move if the vibe feels off. And again, I would have moved on from Rocco last off season after that collapse in 2024. But here we are now, and again, there's no shortage of good options. Who's your favorite though? Who would you like to see as the next manager of the Twins? Thanks for checking this one out. We'll talk again soon.